Hey everybody, Andy Linneman. I'm here with John Foster, and John, it's football. We're recording this on Wednesday evening, so less than 24 hours from now, we're going to have football in Philadelphia, I think, as they begin to bulldoze the Dallas Cowboys. I suspect. I don't know why they chose that game as the opener, but today was also the opener really for all 22, in that all the waiver bids got processed today. There's been a ton of action on the site, so it's been a lot of fun. How are we feeling, John?
It was like I was taking an IV of pure adrenaline.
Yeah,
It was just
it's
great. I
awesome.
mean, the all the thought process about who I would like to pick up and then who I will pick up and what I'm willing to spend for them. So it was exciting. And part of what it's fun to do is see who's out there and pick up people. And today was a day that a lot of people cut their rosters down from 50s and 60s down to their 53. So they cut
70s in some cases, John, 70s in some cases.
yeah, but they cut some of the players down, and I was happy to pick them up. And you know, just saying, is this player that's on the waiver wire better than any player on my roster? Could I pick up that player and swap them? So I was doing a lot of that today. I had a pretty major piece of work I had to get out today, and it really got in the way of me messing around and on the website.
You're going to have a conversation with those work people about that, John.
The boss is like, "Hey, I need this day off just so I can play on the waiver wire."
One of my kids came over for dinner tonight. Who lives in Frankfurt, just left, and I was describing. My wife's rolling her eyes, going, "My God, this guy is just like." I said, "It's like Christmas morning. It's like Christmas morning. We've got all of these guys being cut. We have trades being made. You go the entire off season not having access to people on the waiver wire until all of a sudden you don't. And then it's like a little bit like Christmas morning, where you're bidding on people. You find out what you get when you get up on Wednesday morning and what presents are waiting for you. And then you just tear into the waiver wire and tear all the paper off packages. And I made a handful of trades today myself. I know several others did, including you, John. So we've been sort of preaching to people. Here's something I think might be worth talking about. I think there's a lesson in here. So I've been preaching to people for a number of weeks right here on the All 22 Guys podcast. For anybody that would listen, look, when in doubt, don't send a baby to buy the beer. If there's a player you want, go get him. Okay.
I did.
And so the highest bid that I saw today was one that David Anderson and I did, and you got mossed. I think we bid like 115 or something for Christian Barmore.
Yep.
I think that was right. And then we bid another pretty big number for a guard, Jonah Jackson.
I think a ton of people probably put in a bid for Christian Barmore. I had a bid in for him. I got beat.
How much did you bid for him?
I think I bid 50.
Okay, so that's a real bid.
Yeah, it was a real bid. But there's a point where I say, is it worth more than that to me? And that's a value equation to anybody there. You have to say, what's this player worth? And if he plays like he did 2 years ago, he's a steal at that price. So it's
but then
just,
again, he may not, right?
You don't know, but that's part of it. This is the fun part. This is the fun part of saying, will this player spark?
Yeah, and I think the way that David and I looked at it, so here's a strategy tip, is that when you're looking at the waiver wire, we looked at it like, look, we were already deep enough in the defensive interior room. So if we bought Barmore, we're going to be too deep. So effectively, we were saying we were buying, if we bought him, we're going to end up trading him or someone else, hopefully for a draft pick. And so that was our view of it, that we ended up trading him for, I think, am I frozen?
No.
Okay. There I am. We ended up trading him for a third-round pick.
Did you already trade him?
Yeah. Well, no, we traded someone else, Milton Williams.
Okay.
And so my point is simply to say that the way David and I looked at this is that we were buying a draft pick.
Yeah.
So it's not just will Christian Barmore work out. Hopefully he's roster worthy, bare minimum. And so we ended up buying a draft pick. The other thing that's crazy is in the Perseverance League, Milton Williams also got traded for almost an identical trade package. So it was like, that's really odd. I've never seen the same guy
And
get traded in two different leagues for almost an identical package. The lesson here, John, that I'll let you comment on, I shared this with you earlier in the Gridiron League, partners with John Ganster, my football wife. And John and I have been debating for a couple of days, what do we bid on Tucker Kraft? We really didn't need a tight end, but we were the unfortunate team that lost Rashawn Slater, so we needed a tackle. And we decided to put a trade package together where we traded Mark Andrews and Max Crosby for Mailata.
I
Okay.
saw that.
But we wanted to backfill the tight end room by buying Tucker Kraft, who I felt like shouldn't have been on the waiver wire. So I was saying, let's go big, $60 to $80. Like, don't send a baby to buy the beer. And John's going, come on, don't be ridiculous. It's Tucker Kraft. He's a good player. He's not worth that. And David Anderson has been paying attention to our broadcast, and he's been part of all these conversations. So I think whether I'm right or wrong, we'll find out. But I think he was influenced to, or maybe I'm influenced by him. But the point is, he put in a very aggressive bid. He got him. He's now part of his team. And that's what I like about being aggressive with your bidding. If you see a guy and you want him, go buy him. Because as I was saying to John Ganster, and I couldn't convince him, so I didn't win the vote, that I've now done 5 seasons, and I'm gonna, by the this season is over, I'll have been through 9 of them. I've never been in one of those 5 seasons where I didn't end up in week 17 with $53 left, $47 left. There's always a little money left over that I end up bidding. My last bid is for some guy who's going to get cut next year at the end of the season. And so I'm not maximizing those dollars, which is why I like to bid bigger. I think I bid about $100 in the Perseverance League total amongst a number of players. So
Well, and I would
comment
say
on that.
I would say as a comment that I saw some bids that I thought were really, really high for players.
Probably
And
mostly me.
well, my point is that if if there are several that are in the same camp that you can get, I won't bid high on them. It's really difficult for me to separate several different players that I say this is all basically the same player. They're all 28 years old, plus or minus 6 months, and they all score between a 63 and a 68.
Yeah.
And they're not anything special of this is going to make my team or this is going to be an easy trade to buy a draft pick with. They're not that player. Those are the ones that I just say, you know what, I'm not going to bid that big for
Yeah.
it. And then there's the other side of that that says don't send a baby to get the beer. If you want them, make sure you bid enough to get them. And I didn't bid enough to get Barmore today, but I was happy with my bid. I was comfortable with my bid.
And
And
that was John Ganster's point of view, is that, look, if somebody outbids us, we bid $36 for Tucker Kraft or whatever it is. And he basically said, look, if somebody bids $40 for him, I'm okay
I'm
if
happy.
so that's, I think that's the fun thing. Like, it's one of the things I have 2 leagues where I have partners and 2 leagues where I'm on my own. I love the dialogue that takes place in the 2 leagues with my partners, because in the 2 leagues I do by myself, I'm not as interesting when I talk to myself as I am potentially with these other guys. Just ask them. I'm sure they're going to,
But
it's riveting dialogue.
well, but the point is that if you have a partner in the league, you can always blame them.
Well, if you saw one of our all 22 guys episodes that we did from the Bengals Stadium last year down at Paycor Stadium, Ganster said to everybody, any bad deal we've ever done on either side, it's always my fault. As in him, John Ganster. I
Absolutely.
was like, I've never known that, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
You're the fall guy.
All
So
right. So no, it's just been terrific. I
a lot of fun.
I love this part of the season,
Yeah,
and I would encourage everybody that's in all 22 to do 2 things early in the season. And you've said it more than one time. Get off to a good start. And one of
yeah,
the ways to get off to a good start is make trades that help your team, work the waiver wire.
I was talking to David Anderson today, and we were saying how we've all gotten trade offers from some people in the past few days where you just laugh and click no. And
If you're laughing at me, that's okay.
well, and by the way, I'm sure people have gotten them from me and going, no, is he crazy? I'm not making that trade. And I always feel bad when I do that. In fact, with Ethan, I made a trade offer to him and he declined it. And I was like, you can feel free to counter. Maybe I asked for too much. You never know. I don't want to ask. I don't want to be that guy.
Yep.
So 10 minutes later, we had a deal done. But David was saying how he was like, that's the Perseverance League of the 4 leagues, or he's in 5 or 6, I think. That's a really competitive league. It's got a bunch of owners that have done a really good job. And that's probably going to be one of the more competitive leagues. Like if you look at the teams from top to bottom, it's pretty wide open. The other league that I'm in, which has been super fun, is the 16-team league, the Usual Suspects League. And we found out today, I guess, that Ray doesn't have a center. So Ray, we're laughing not at you, we're laughing with you.
Yes, we're laughing at you.
Because in that league, I have Elijah Vera Tucker in 3 of my 4 leagues. So I lost him across the platform, 3 or 4 of the 4 leagues I'm in, stinging from that one. I thought I was so clever. I added Dalton Reisner this morning, thinking that he's going to get the starting right guard spot in Cincinnati. I then lose Tucker, and then find out that Lucas Patrick is the actual starting right guard for the Bengals. So I'm just like taking it on the chin. In Gridiron, I've now lost Elijah Vera Tucker and Slater for the season. Aren't you feeling terrible for me, John?
Yeah. So Elijah Vera Tucker's out for the season?
That's what it's sounding like. Sounding like he tore a tricep. So either way, he's on IR probably for the year. It's what it's sounding like.
I knew he was on IR for the first 5 games, but I didn't know how severe it was. When I saw it, it was still upper body injury,
Yeah.
which is a broad definition.
That's what they describe what happens to me if I ever give my wife, like if I really give her a hard time, I usually suffer an upper body injury, which is always better than a groin injury in a situation like that. But, it's how she keeps.
Yeah, I know, Mira.
So you're in some other leagues. Anything interesting to you about the activities in all the leagues you're in today?
I think it was overall really good. There was a lot of very smart bidding out there for players that I thought was the right amount to win bids.
Yeah.
There weren't any absolutely ludicrous bids that were out there. There were some bids that I probably wouldn't have done. I'm not sure I bid $5 for a kicker or punter, but $5 really doesn't matter. Kind of thing. If you find somebody you like for that, it's good. Get them, I guess. But there was a couple of those, but again, nothing outlandish or anything else. I think there's been some fun trades happening. People are speculating right now that they truly believe in some of these rookies and that they're willing to give up trades for them. So, I don't know. And only time will tell whether those trades are worthwhile or not.
John, talk about that trade, but right before we hit record, you talked about a trade you made in one league that involved 3 wide receivers, which I think is a good example of how it's a win-win trade.
I had an offer that someone wanted Michael Golden, and I ended up trading Michael Golden for Roma Doomsday and Xavier Worthy. Both had average seasons last year, but both have the opportunity to have terrific seasons this year. And I think Matthew Golden could have an amazing season, an amazing career. Yeah. But you're speculating. So I used the mathematics of I'll take 2 of these. I don't have a really strong wide receiver room in that league. So taking 2 and hoping that one of them becomes a premier versus Matthew Golden. And there's going to be people who say, wow, Matthew Golden's going to be amazing. Well, I'll tell you in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
In
the short run, you've doubled your odds of hitting on a player. So it's one of those trades that, like, anybody who makes that trade, both teams come away probably feeling like maybe they didn't win the trade, but maybe they feel like it was a win for them and their team. I love trades like that where it's a win-win. We made a big one with Casey Brockman today. I give Casey Brockman a ton of credit. We're in a league where we're in year 4, and in 3 years, Casey and mine and John Ganster's team are the two teams that have won a championship. We're in the same conference, yet he's still willing to make a deal with us involving a major player in Jordan Mailata on his team. So I really respect that. It was a big time trade. We gave up Mark Andrews and Max Crosby, and there was
Draft picks.
some picks in there. So I just am saying that, like, I really give people credit. Like, that's sort of a win-win. He gives up a pretty good tackle, but like you and I have talked about before, if you plug the numbers in based on the players he had, I think you could make the argument that you could easily make the case that he won that trade, or you could make the case, as John Ganster said, we're giving Casey a lot, but we're coming away with the best player. So in that trade you just made, whoever gets Matthew Golden's probably saying, we're not sure who's right about any of this, but he's probably saying, I think I got the best player, right? So I like trades like that there are win-win trades where, everybody comes away with having solved a problem. Pretty interesting, John. You made the comment when we did a All 22 Guys episode recently about the waiver wire and usual suspects being pretty thin. And
Yes.
I agreed with that, but I think I agreed with it a lot more today than I did then, because what happens today is after all of the roster cuts have taken place in a 12-team league, you realize the waiver wire is way more full than it looked 2 days ago when everybody still had 65 players or 59 players. All of those guys get cut, and all of a sudden you're going, I can almost form a competitive all 22 team almost off of the waiver wire, right? And in a 16-team league,
team.
that's not the case. The 16-team waiver wire is pick clean. And that's with everybody having 53 players. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. It's only going to get worse from there as injuries occur and stuff like that. So it's very good.
So in that league, I have 3 players on IR. So I picked up 3 players today, and I shopped for 3 players, and it was hard to find 3 quality players to pick up.
It's going to be a fun experience. I can't wait to do that league. And, I said this last time we did one of these, like, I've now lost, some Elijah Vera Tucker. I like the guy. I think he's got some upside. I have him in 3 leagues, and I probably lost him for the season. That's where the fun begins. So I love that about the exercise of playing all 22. If all we do is set it and forget it and walk away, how much fun is it? They're not that much fun, but this is a lot more fun where you got to wheel and deal and try to stay afloat and decide if you're going to give up resources for next year. Can you find some diamonds in the rough? And the waiver wire is the key, John. I feel like now that you've reached this point in the season, if this is your first all 22 experience, the waiver wire is critical to your success. Bid when you see players you like. The only thing I always feel like is a problem when you bid for somebody, make sure that they're going to be able to stay on your roster, because nothing feels worse than bidding $37 for somebody and 2 weeks later you've got to cut them. Not necessarily the best use of resources. So pretty much you want to bid on people that you think can survive at least a few weeks on your team and contribute in some way.
Remember, everybody, this won't be out probably in time, but you have to be down to 53 by the top of the hour Thursday nights.
8 p.m. Eastern time.
And be down to the 53. And people come back on from IR on strange timelines that you're like, how do I have 55 players all of a sudden?
Yeah. And that'll not happen until week 5. Right. So if anybody's on IR right now, they cannot come off of IR until week 5. So we'll have another episode out before then. I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, be checking out Chris and Ray's All 22 NFL podcast, which is the podcast where they talk about all things all 22. They tend to talk more about players, rankings, generally player-oriented things, where John and I will talk about some of that, but also we kind of focus more on strategies. For example, how to bid, what to bid, what's a successful bid, and things like that. So be sure to check out their podcast. We'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and like this one. And if you're in another fantasy league, please share this with your fantasy league. There was nothing in it for us. We're just trying to build a community and help people get the most out of all 22. We're revealing little nuggets and secrets of our own every episode. And we're doing that just because we want to try to help everybody. So with that, John, you got anything else you want to send us out? So so we would like the Eagles tomorrow. What do you think Friday night? We've got Chiefs and
Chargers.
Chiefs Chargers. What do we think?
You have to go with Mahomes.
Okay.
I mean,
I agree.
Or Kelsey Swift, whatever his name is.
Let's stick with Mahomes, please. Please. Let's stick with Mahomes. I mean, I'm praying to God she's not there. I don't have anything against the woman. I'm just so over it. I'm one of these guys that
the smartest marketing move is to hyphenate his name and sell another $1 million worth of jerseys.
And clicks on his podcast. Like it's just so overexposed. Like it's sort of like I love the rookie quarterback whose parents are in the stands. The first time they show them, oh, that's cool. This maybe the second time when he scores his first touchdown, wonderful. I don't need to see it anymore the rest of the season. I've seen them. They're about as interested in me as I am in them. I'm tuning in to watch football, not to see who's in the suite. So
I will say this as we go out. This is it. We get to watch football again.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Can't wait. John, yep. I'm sure I'll be talking to you. I'm going to try to get this mixed and out tomorrow before the games start, but I hope everybody enjoys football. Every year, I'm 61. Every year I go, if I'll make it. I was just telling my kid today, you know what? I as long as I can live another 24 hours, I've made it to another one. So you reach an age where you're not sure anymore. I made it. I made it to another one, John. I can't wait.
Yeah. Watch football.
All right, man. Thanks, everybody. Hope everybody has a great night and enjoys a great weekend of games. Thanks.
All right.
See you.
Woohoo!